Kingdom business is different to normal business. It's about taking our gifts and our talents into the marketplace, building profitable and influential businesses, and playing our part in advancing the kingdom of God. We have to understand that when we see business as our assignment, heaven will back us. God is looking for men and women across this country who decide to play a bigger game and shift their focus from an earthly empire to an eternal kingdom. So I invite you to join me and a lineup of world-class speakers, and let us invest in you and your business for 2 whole days. You know, one of the things that makes the Kingdom Business Summit different to a lot of conferences is that we are really practical. Yes, we teach theory, but we bring everything down to the actionable steps that you'll be able to implement in your business right away. You know, Kingdom Business is a movement, and there is a tidal wave right now of kingdom entrepreneurs right across this country who have decided to go into the marketplace and bring an expression of the kingdom. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's happening, and I invite you to come along on the journey. So if you're looking for business training, the ability to worship with your brothers and sisters in business, if you're looking for some prophetic ministry and you're looking at networking, then I invite you to join me, Kingdom Business Summit 2020, somewhere around this wonderful country. Tickets will sell out fast, so make sure you register early, and I look forward to seeing you real soon.
Well, Merry Christmas and welcome to episode 65 of Kingdom Business TV. What a wonderful time of the year. So thank you for joining me. I'm going to play Santa Claus, and I am going to be doing some giveaways on today's show. I've got a whole bunch of books here, good literature to be reading over the break, or business books that can feed us. And so how's this going to work? This is simple. You call in with a question, I answer it, you get a book. And today's episode is probably going to go for quite a while because we've got lots of questions. People have already sent their questions through. The team have kind of read them, organized them, put them into some schedule. They're going to be making calls, putting them through to me, and I'm going to be giving you my 2 cents about how to do business God's way. Some of the questions are just, generic about business, and some of them are related to this time of year. So it's going to be good. Why don't you do me a favor and put in the comments for me, where are you around this wonderful country? Right? I want to get some feedback. I've got it here. I want to know where you guys are around this country. So Christmas, right? Christmas. It's a cool time of year for believers. And of course, we know that Jesus was not born on December the 25th. We just use it as an indicative time of the year to celebrate. And you know what? When I reflect on this time, the thing that I always go back to in my mind, if I can get a little bit preachy right up front, is that at the time, they knew there was a king coming, and it had been prophesied, for thousands of years that there was a king coming and he was going to establish his kingdom. And everyone was expecting, this monstrous king who was going to come in with the sword and rule and reign and use force like every other king had done, and, chariots and, well, what's God's plan? No, I'm not going to do any of that because that's obvious. I'm going to bring Jesus as a baby in a place where they can't get accommodation, with parents who are insignificant, and they're going to see this person grow up from day one. And I just think, isn't it the beautiful nature of God that He brings our Savior in such a way as we can relate? We were all babies once, we were all that innocent, vulnerable baby, and that's exactly how Jesus came. And I just think it's a beautiful time of the year to reflect on that. The presents are good. the time with family is better, but just being able to take our eyes off the busyness of life for a period of time and put them onto the divine strategy of Father God, who from the start had a plan to rectify man back to himself. And he used Jesus as a baby boy, growing into a man, establishing his kingdom, showing us how to do it, operating with nothing but love and kindness to humanity. What an example for us to follow. And this is a phenomenal time of year just to kind of bring that right back to the center of our lives. And to me, when I think about the way God handled that, it makes me want to draw near to Him, and it makes me want to, worship Him and so forth, because it was just done in such a beautiful way. And so I know business is all bravado and ego and crushing it and hustling, but when it's for the kingdom, it's got to start with the King. And so this is a phenomenal time of year for you and I to acknowledge that, and I guess, if in doubt, put Him back on the throne that He deserves in our lives. And I reckon that's just a really cool thing. So some of you are on here going, yeah, Wes, I want the books. All right, I understand. It's been a phenomenal end of the year to us. We're not finished. We're working through to tomorrow. A couple of people working through till Monday. It's been a phenomenal end to the year for us. Obviously, when I think about 2019 as an organization, this time 1 year ago, we were finishing our caravan tour. So, I was still living in a box on wheels. And then we moved into a house pretty soon after. So I was a one-person operation with a few, helping hands. And we've grown to a team of 4.5 this year, and into an office and built a studio. So there's a bit of activity there. We launched the Kingdom Business Network, which we now have 27 chapters and a few hundred members all over Australia, and that's been amazing. We have our largest intake of coaching clients that we've ever had come through our program that we've been able to walk with, and the stories that have come out of that are amazing. We've got people that went from literally starting a business on day one of joining the program to now significant businesses in whatever 9 months that is. We've got people that have had marriages restored, physical healings, and all this sort of stuff, all going on in the business world, which is great. And then, we have our New Zealand summit and our New Zealand office and our New Zealand group that I've been pretty heavily involved with this year. And then if it wasn't busy enough, in October, I said, okay, I should probably go around and visit some of these Kingdom Business Network chapters. And so, over 8 weeks, went to Newcastle and Melbourne, New Zealand, Cairns, Adelaide, and I dialed into, I think, 6 or 7 chapters. And so that kind of filled up the end of my year. And so here we are, of course. What's the project at the end of our year? It's Kingdom Business Summit 2020. And so obviously about 10 days ago or something, we went live with ticket sales for Kingdom Business Summit 2020. And I have to say, it's been an amazing response. When I look at how many tickets we have to sell every day to the event, we are more than double at the moment the speed that we need to be selling them at. And so if you haven't got them, if you don't have your ticket to Kingdom Business Summit, then you've got to get one, because, not only will prices go up, but last year we actually closed some cities 6 and 5 weeks out from the event. Like, people thought they could just buy tickets at the end. No, it was well sold out. So do not delay. Jump in early, grab your ticket. We'll send one of these to you, and we'll get you there, all right? So go to kingdombusiness.com.au. That'll keep us busy in January and February, and then in March, we'll race around the country, 5 cities in 6 weeks. And logistically, that's a mission, right? As you can imagine, these are 2-day events, with 1,500 people across all of the cities. That means we've got to come up with 5 prophetic teams, 5 lots of volunteers, 5 bands for worship night. 5 all the way through. Everything we've got to get involved, and logistically it's great. But having said that, next year, just to tease you, next year's Kingdom Business Summit is going to be the largest lineup of speakers that I've ever put together. There's going to be 8 speakers on top of just me. And I've done that for a reason. I want to bring more wisdom to you guys. And what's really cool about it, they're not all doing all cities, of course, but I'm recording them in every city, and everybody that buys a ticket actually will get the recordings of all of the speakers of all of the cities, not just the city that you attend, right? So that's a huge amount of value. So that's really, really exciting. And just to tease you, we went public with 3 of our guest speakers yesterday. We've got Dave Hodgson, who runs a $1.3 billion fund. We have Peter Irvine, who was one of the co-founders of Gloria Jeans Global. And we have Victoria Beattie, who is a female entrepreneur who's killing it at the moment with a very successful online, offline business called The Beach People. And we actually have we have the CEO of Christian Super, who's going to come and talk about using money to impact the world for good, and a whole bunch of other speakers that we'll announce as time goes by. So you're going to get all of that for a $79 ticket. Or right now you can buy extra tickets for just $20 each, up to 4 more. Okay, so if you buy 5 tickets, it works out to $32 a ticket for 2 days of high-end practical business training, prophetic worship, ministry. It don't get better than that. All right. Well, that's enough of me rambling on. I just wanted to get that stuff to you because I love Christmas and I love this time of year. And I hope you've got your tree up. And if you don't do Christmas in that way, that's fine. It's still a good time of year to reflect and to be with the people we love. All right. Who is our first caller? Patrick. We got Patrick today helping me in the studio, and he is going to line this up.
Hello, Danielle speaking.
Danielle, it's Wez Hone. You're on Kingdom Business TV.
Hi, how are you this morning?
I'm great. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Thank you.
What can I help you with?
Well, I'm a florist, and I signed a lease many months ago. Not signed the lease, but in preparation for a lease to move out of my garage into a shopfront. And the guys renovating it, the landlords, have been very slow, disorganised, but they're immaculate with their restoration. I'm supposed to be getting the keys very soon. And for me, it's like, all right, I've missed a lot of lead time into Christmas for sales, which is very disappointing. That opportunity for people to walk past the markets and whatever. So when I get the keys, or if I get the keys, do I set up shop now and try and get the last week of Christmas, or do I delay and wait into the new year and set up that shop front and launch that way?
Good question. I can see no value in waiting. Like
okay.
When I think about waiting, I can see no value in that. I can see value in you going, da-da, crazy 5-day promotion to get in before Christmas. And for a couple of reasons. Firstly, you might get some sales before Christmas. That would be good. But also, you have momentum leading into next year. So that would be my 2 main reasons for doing it, right? I mean, but don't open if you're not going to open with fanfare. Like when you open a shop like that, it has got to be, you need to be on Facebook and Instagram and YouTube and LinkedIn and, all over the place with a big grand opening and a ribbon cutting and a, whatever private night where you invite 50 people that you really care about. And like, you've just got to do a huge amount of fanfare so that it's on people's radar that you exist.
Yes. Okay.
But don't wait. Like there's no waiting. Now, one of the things that was interesting for me, did you have any kind of penalties or clawbacks in your contract with the people doing the reno?
No. And when I initially signed the initial application, this is my first time, obviously, so I'm learning a lot. They've been delaying in sending the contract to my lawyer for signing, and we finally signed it. And when I thought they'd signed it the other day, they're holding off, which is very frustrating.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so lesson number 1, probably the wrong contractor. You probably needed somebody who is faster and more nimble to be able to get the project done. But that's okay. I mean, next time you write a contract, put a deadline in there and say, there is a penalty if they don't hit the deadline. That way they can't just drag you out. I mean, they're affecting your business, so you need to be able to pass that pain on to someone.
Yep.
But if you didn't, then you can't. So that's the end of that conversation. But to answer your question, yes, fanfare as much as you can. As soon as you get the keys, start live streaming. Start putting, like even when you're driving to get the keys, right? Start telling everybody you got to get the keys, right? Do some massive offer on some particular plant or flower that you're going to do. Like, you just need to really story tell. You need to put a huge amount of energy through awareness. And that will get you some sales this year, but it would also get you momentum for next.
Yep, awesome. Thank you so much.
Now, I want to give you a book because I enjoy playing Santa Claus. So I've got a couple of options here, and you get to choose. I'm going to read them to you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we have Seth Godin, a book called This is Marketing. We've got a book called The $1 Trillion Coach, which is about kind of like the American tech scene. We've got Simon Sinek, which is Start With Why. We've got Monday Matters, who is a local Aussie guy who is phenomenal, Mark Bilton. He's spoken at most of our summits. Shoe Dog, which is the Nike story. We've got Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers. Christine Kane with Unashamed. My book, Supernatural Thinking, Supernatural Business. And then we've got Michael Hyatt with Your Best Year Ever. Which one can I send you?
I would actually love your book.
Which one? Supernatural Thinking, Supernatural Business?
Supernatural Business, please.
Awesome. Danielle, I appreciate your call. It's on its way, and we'll post it out real soon. Have a good Christmas.
Thank you, and you have a great Christmas too.
Bless you.
Thank you.
All right, let's roll on. Let's roll on.
Hello, Dan speaking.
Daniel, it's Wez Hone. You're on Kingdom Business TV.
Wes, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you.
Merry Christmas to you as well, my friend. What can I help you with?
I have a bit of a curly or an interesting question for you.
Good.
So I have a small cafe. Now, in said cafe, we do a positive quote every day, of which a small percentage of those positive quotes are, a Bible verse or religiously based, but only a small percentage. We also play Vision 180, which is a Christian youth station, sort of like as background noise. Now, I've received quite a bit of backlash for both of this, and I do believe that it could potentially be hampering my sales to a degree. On the other hand, particularly around the Christian music item, obviously I really don't want to be playing mainstream music in my cafe because, well, mainly the filth I think that is in a lot of the mainstream music industry, and I believe that it gives a bad atmosphere in my cafe. So what do I do?
When you say there's a lot of backlash, give me an idea of what do you mean? What do you mean by a lot of backlash? What does that look like?
Well, I've had a fair few comments. I've had people sort of pull me aside and say, "Hey, we get you're a Christian, but we really, I think you should, slow down on, So, for example, I was talking to a lady who I know fairly well, and she was basically saying to me, "Look, I was in the shop and a lot of people were bagging you out and were putting you down, and I do know that it does turn a lot of people off."
Yeah. Well, my Bible says, "Woe to you if all men speak well of you." So I wouldn't worry about people bagging you out.
Yeah.
All right. So here's my thinking. Right. The reason why I ask you what kind of backlash it is because we can tend to take 3 comments and make them really important, and then in perspective, it's not that big, right? If you've got 50 customers a day and one person a month complains, then 99% of people didn't. So that's just something to keep in perspective and make sure we're not blowing out of the water what 2 people said twice, right? So that's a thing to consider. Having said that, I guess if you've got to work out what identity you want for your business. Are you going for a Christian environment that's overt that, and if that's the case, then of course you're doing it all right and you will lose some patronage, but you will probably have more chance of speaking to the one-off vulnerable person that is hurting right now. Okay, so that's the trade-off for you. if you're wanting to build a business where you can just love on people and not be so overt, then of course you've got to play this stuff down. It doesn't mean you don't have any influence. See, what's interesting is you may find that if you were to take the Christian music out, for example, more people would attend the cafe, which means you would build better relationships with regular customers, which means you might be able to have a greater influence in their life when they come to you and start telling you about the mess in their life. But because you put on Christian music, they were so put off they didn't even bother coming in. So it's a trade-off. And I think that's why I say it's an identity, because either one of those ways is fine. In terms of being, ministry and outreach, either of those is fine. You can be overt and you will put a lot of people off, but it's very clear where you stand. You can be covert and you can build better relationships over the long term and still have some influence. I'll give an example. I obviously started my business coaching practice as a believer, but I didn't take a Bible to my meetings and I didn't, preach to people, and I just taught them business and helped them grow their business. And then on the side, they would occasionally see, the crazy weird stuff that I would do with my family or church or something like that on social media. But there were plenty of times when I didn't preach at people, but their life fell apart and then they asked me for help. And in that moment, because I had solved a problem for them and walked a journey with them and built trust with them, I was able to speak into their life. And in one particular case, this fellow fully gave his life to the Lord and became radically saved. Now, I don't know what would happen if I preached at him in my first meeting. I probably never would have got to walk that journey with him to build the trust to get, for him to come to the Lord. So that's why I'm not bothered which way you choose. It's not, I would be concerned if you were to say, I need to be playing Christian music to be a good Christian in business. I don't think that's the case at all. You get to decide the identity.
No, that's definitely not like I said, the main, particularly the Christian music, the main reason why I want to play. So our core belief is bringing abundance to people's lives, and I'm all about bringing a bit of positivity to these people's lives, which is why we're doing the positive quotes every day. So the reason I want to play the Christian music is because, in my opinion, the secular music is definitely not positive. It brings in a bad atmosphere. So I just, in most cafes, you want a bit of music as a background. So I just want something that's positive, music that's positive and life-giving. And in my opinion, the only one that really fits that bill that I can find at the moment is I really like Vision 180, which is mainly music. It's positive, it's life-giving, where pretty much any other, particularly secular mainstream music, it definitely doesn't fit those categories.
But I do kind of think that there are a million songs out there that are not Christian labeled and certainly not worldly and horrible. So why don't you just jump on iTunes or something, make up a 400 song playlist of music that is clean, and run it in the shop. That way you get the best of both worlds. You get clean music, you get to please the customer, and everybody gets what they're wedded to. That would be my way of finding the middle ground. It would be just go and create your own. No, obviously not 5 songs, because that's really annoying for your regulars. Yeah. So go and build a big playlist and so forth. Now, this time of year is easy. This time of year is really easy because, I don't know if you've been to any of the shops. There's only two CDs that get played this year, right? There's either Michael Bublé or Justin Bieber, right? And very occasionally a little bit of the old Mariah, who's probably on both of their albums anyway. So it's easy this time of year, right? But all jokes aside, just go and make up your own playlist and start playing it, right? And if you really want to, maybe the quotes, the scripture quotes, maybe do less of them, but add in some other positive quotes. Just filter them through a little bit less.
I actually have been doing like of all my positive quotes, literally only about 10% of them are, we could call it, religiously based. Majority of them are actually quotes from famous people like Oprah Winfrey and Mark Twain. I think I've got one from him. I've been stealing this from Charles Spurgeon, which aren't religiously based, but he said some amazing quotes. So
so that's fine. You're doing it right. I mean, I don't think anybody's offended by a quote that has a scripture and verse on it. They might be offended by music.
You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised.
Yeah. If you're doing it every day and pushing it in front of them, like if you had quote cards on the table on the top of the menus and stuff like that, then you would probably lose. Having said that, In-N-Out Burger, which is one of the biggest burger chains in America, they put scripture and verse on every bit of product. So it can be done. It can be done.
Yeah, it's more so just because I'm aware you are right. There only are only a few comments that I've heard, but I am familiar that generally, if one person's willing to speak it, then how many are sort of thinking it? How many how many are actually getting turned away?
That's why if I was in your position, I would personally tame down the music. I would. That's what I would do.
Yeah.
Because I want the relationships over the long haul rather than just play the music I want to play. That's me.
Yes.
All right, mate, I want to send you a book because it's Christmas and I like giving. So I'm going to read you some and then you're going to pick it and then we are going to send it out. We have the $1 Trillion Coach, which is like Tech World. We've got Seth Godin's This Is Marketing, Mark Bilton's Monday Matters, Simon Sinek with Start With Why, Shoe Dog, Nike Story, Malcolm Gladwell with Outliers, Christine Kane, Michael Hyatt, and me.
Well, I've already got your book and I've already got the Monday Matters and I think the 90-minute one. So the $1 Trillion Coach definitely sounds interesting. There's another one you said that sounds very interesting. Where it was in the middle there.
Shoe Dog?
Yes, Shoe Dog 90, what's that one about?
That's the Nike Story.
Oh, okay. That would probably be very interesting, actually.
It's a phenomenal book, right until the very end. It's got a massive cliffhanger at the end. And I won't tell you what it is for spoiler alert, but it has got a massive cliffhanger that you never saw coming. Bless you, buddy. Have a great Christmas.
Thank you very much.
Very good. People buying tickets. Be careful. You're going to miss out. I want to get one of these things into your mailbox so that you can turn up to the summit and let us invest in you. Crazy ticket offer right now. All right, who's up next? Who is up next?
Hello, Daryl speaking.
Daryl, it's Wez from Kingdom Business TV. How are you?
Oh, not too bad, Mr. Wez, and how's your day going so far?
I am salubrious. Merry Christmas, my friend.
And Father Christmas to you.
Mate, what can I help you with?
Listen, we're in the process of putting on a new staff member. We've gone through the hire slow type process.
Great.
So we've done what we believe is all the right due diligence. We've explicitly gone down the route of putting them on a permanent part-time rather than casual because we want this to be a long-term basis. So now our focus is, when this employee starts in the new year, what are the sorts of things that we need to do to just maximise the chances of success for both of us?
Very good. So a position description is obviously essential, and a position description just outlines what your expectations are. So once you've ticked that box, I really feel like the first 5 minutes and the first 1 day of a new employee set the tone of how that person is going to work for you for the rest of time. So, for example, you might have a new team member turn up at, let's say they're starting at 9 o'clock. They turn up at 8:45. You're not quite ready. Now you're in a fluster. Now now you're not setting it up well. And in their mind, they're thinking, oh wow, this place is not as organized as I thought. Like, this is going to be great working here because I don't have to work hard. Whereas if you were, 8:45, you see them in the car park, you welcome at the door, shake the hand, and you say, right, I'm going to introduce you to the team, I'm going to take you to the staff room, I'm going to show you around, If you are more intentional, more organized, then they're thinking, wow, this place is really organized, it's going to be great working here. So I guess, that really does set the tone, right? And then the other thing I would do, and this is what most people don't do, is I would create an induction checklist. and it would be day 1, week 1, month 1. This is everything I want you to have learnt in day 1. This is everything I want you to have learnt by the end of week 1. This is everything I want you to learn by the end of month 1. And then basically it's line items, and next to them you put a tick and an initial to show that they can do their job. And then you photocopy those and you give them a copy and you put a copy in their team folder. And then like they can never come back and say they weren't trained. They can see that you're structured approach. It also gets them up to speed faster because you're putting them through a shorter time period to get trained. So most people don't think that through. They just think they'll learn on the job. Well, that's a slower way of doing it than actually structuring their onboarding. And then the last thing I would say is have very clear KPIs. Very clear key performance indicators, between 5 and 7 metrics, numbers, things that are measurable. And you say to them, this is what I need you to do. You need, if you deliver on these 5 KPIs, and I know you're doing a good job. Because I think one of the things that affects a lot of people is a lot of team members don't know that they're doing a good job. They haven't been told that they're doing a good job. They don't know if they're on or off track. And so what this does is it actually gives you both the framework to know if you just do those 5 to 7 things consistently, you are good. You're fine. And when a team member knows what they've got to do to win, we're basically setting them up for success if we do it that way.
Yeah. In the position description, we gave the very first paragraph on there said to define what we would define the position as being successful by. So there's this one key thing, but it's not quite down to 5 specific elements. On there, it's sort of it is more of a general statement. It's fairly obvious, but I think we probably need to refine that out a bit more and just make it easier for them to tick the boxes.
To be unclear is to be unkind. The clearer you can be, the better off you'll be.
Yeah. Yep.
All right. Well, I want to send you a book because it's Christmas.
Yep.
Now, let me just quickly rattle through them. We have Seth Godin's book about marketing. We've got Monday Matters, Mark Bilton. We've got The $1 Trillion Coach by Eric Schmidt. We've got Start With Why, which is Simon Sinek. We've got The Outliers by Malcolm Gladwell. We've got Christine Kane, Proverbs for Business, Proverbs for Leaders, Your Best Year Ever by Michael Hyatt, and Supernatural Thinking. Which one can I send you?
I think I might hit up Seth Godin, actually.
The big book, the big orange one. Seth is a legend.
Yeah.
Seth
is the purple cow guy.
All right, Daryl, appreciate you. Merry Christmas. We'll send this book out real soon.
Thanks, mate. Catch you.
Very good, very good. Have you got your tickets? You got to get the tickets. Got to get your tickets to KBS 2020. It's the event not to be missed. Do we have Natalie? Is that Natalie? That's no one. That's the no one. All right, just keep moving. We got lots of them to get through. Very good.
Hello, Indy speaking.
Indy, it's Wez Hone. You're on Kingdom Business TV.
How are you going?
Very good. Merry Christmas.
Same to you.
What can I help you with?
I just wanted to ask you whether you've got any tips for helping me to kind of overcome procrastination or putting off doing certain things in my business that I know I need to do to get it somewhere.
Very good question. Well, I think, first and foremost, I think we all suffer a little bit from procrastination. So I wouldn't say like, oh, that's shockingly evil of you to procrastinate. I think we all do to some degree. It's just we've got to learn to rule over that. I would say, if I was to take a punt, Indy, I would say the number one reason why you're procrastinating is because you don't have a big enough reason. You don't have a big enough why. You don't have a big enough purpose to go build it. Right? When the payoff and the dream is big enough, you'll do the work. when it's not big enough, we take the path of least resistance. And that's probably what you're doing right now. You're finding other things to do. You know, and you know, I could look at it in another light. Like business is easy, but exercise is another one that most people procrastinate over, and me too. Like, you know, it's only really been 2019 that I did any exercise, because I became so sick of, you know, not exercising that I finally had a big enough reason to go do it. It's the same. It's the same as business. You know, if somebody doesn't, if somebody hasn't got the wherewithal, like they don't have any money, they're broke, whatever, and they decide to build a business. If they don't build a business, it's because they're not unsatisfied enough with the current situation. You need to arrive at the point where you are so dissatisfied with where you are right now that enough vision burns inside of you that it drags you towards doing the activity you need. You know, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you'll do something about it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, people either change, you know, through inspiration or desperation, right? They're the two main motivators. I would recommend the former. Like, you don't have to wait to get to rock bottom to do something about it, although sadly that's what humans generally do. You don't have to wait until you absolutely hit the wall, but most humans will do that because they can see a bit of margin. They're like, it's bad, but it's not as bad as it could be, so I'm fine. I would say to you that you probably just should make the decision to move now. And you've just got to find a compelling enough reason to get up every day and do the work. I kind of language it a little bit differently. Procrastination, in my mind, I call it procrastinaction, right? Because that's what it is. It's inaction. And you just need to find a reason to start doing the actions that you've been putting off. And when that vision and that bright future and that reason burns inside of you, you become unstoppable. Unstoppable. Right? Yeah. You know, for me, if we look at my life, you know, I did business before I was a believer, and then I did business coaching before I did a Christian flavor in business coaching. But when I started the Business Greenhouse and the Kingdom Business Movement, like, there have been ups and downs in every hour from 2012 through to today, but none of them bother me. What makes me want to do a 16, 17, 18-hour day back to back to back to back to back is because I want the outcome. I so want, you know, tens of thousands of entrepreneurs doing business God's way, rallying, being a voice, changing culture. I want it, and I can see it, and I can taste it so much that I'll get up every day and go chase that thing down. You need to find that within you.
Yeah.
You've got to dig deep enough that you find that thing inside of you that you cannot shake and that you'll trade your life for, that gets you out of bed every day, even when it sucks, because that's going to happen. Get you out of bed every day, and you go, I'm going to go do this.
Yeah.
There's no tactic. There's no timesheet. There's no app. All those things, like all those things around you that you could have, won't get you there if you haven't first purposed in your heart what you want to go and do. You've got to make that decision. And then all the other things like notebooks and apps and task managers and all those things, they're all easy. You could do those tomorrow if you really wanted to. You've got to decide first of all in your heart that you've got a big enough vision to trade your life for it, and then you'll go do it.
Amazing. Thank you so much. That's really good.
Indy, I want to send you a book, but I'm going to choose your book this time. I haven't let anybody else do that, but I'm choosing yours. You are going to get Simon Sinek's book, Start With Why, if you haven't already read it.
No, I haven't.
Well, that's exactly what you need. You need to start with your big why. So,
thank you very much.
That is what you are getting. Indy, have a super Christmas. Keep me posted on how you're going, and I'll catch you next year.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Look at that. There's some good preaching up in this place. Some good preaching. All right. We be ringing people that don't want my books. Is that what it is? All right. That's fine. That is fine.
Judy speaking.
Judy, it's Wez Hone. You're on Kingdom Business TV.
Hi, Wes. How you going?
I'm great. How are you?
Good, thank you.
Merry
Thanks for calling
Christmas.
me. Merry Christmas to you too and your team.
What can I help you with, Judy?
Yes, so I had a question. I wanted to know the difference between passion and calling. So how do you know the passion that you have is actually from God, and how do you know the difference between that and actually His calling for you, for your life?
Yeah, great question. When you say passion, I think we have more than one.
Yes.
So, I have a passion for skiing, right? Like, if I could do anything, if I could do anything for the rest of my life, it would be skiing. Like, it's the thing that brings me the biggest joy in my life. It's the
Apart from your
activity
family,
that gives
right?
it's the activity that gives me the biggest joy in life is skiing, right?
Yeah.
So that's a passion. So reframe the question for me. Do you mean a passion for the things of the Lord? What do you mean? I want to get a distinction between passion and calling.
Cool. All right. So I love running my business.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. Like, that gives me so much joy. I'm passionate about it. But I also want to know if this is the calling of my life, because I'm just trying to figure it out, because I've been running this for about 5 years. I love what I do, but I feel there is more. I feel like there's something that I'm missing somewhere, and I can't figure it out. But I feel like the business should be 10 times more than where it is today. And I'm just trying to figure out, is this the calling I have? Like, is this what God's put me for? Or am I just going, yep, this is my passion, I'm going to do it? Do you know what I mean?
Good question.
I'm trying to figure that part out, because I'm thinking...
I love it.
Yeah.
So do you believe that God's sovereign?
Yes.
Do you believe He could get you where He wants you?
Yes, absolutely.
So how did you end up in business?
Well, it was weird, because my background's actually engineering and science. I thought that's where I'm going to end up. I ended up working in a corporate world, and then ended up in a car accident that nearly cost my life. And the next thing I know, I'm running a business. I actually didn't know at the time how on earth that even happened, but I just, for a long time, because my parents have been a big part of this whole thing. They've been like, get a proper job, so start running your own company and get a proper job. So I've always get this voice in my head going, oh man, I'm not meant to be doing this. But
okay.
I'm so happy when I'm doing it.
Just to park there,
I mean?
fully never listen to anybody else.
Yes, I know that.
Don't listen to anybody else, especially people that have an agenda. Like, go get wise counsel, but don't get wise counsel from people that have already made their mind up about one way or the other.
Correct.
Right. That's just a bad idea. So, I mean, love your parents, but you're not 15 anymore. So, I'd follow the Lord before I followed my parents. That's for sure. So, okay. So that makes a lot of sense to me. I would say to you that passion and calling are very different. I'll try and put it in the context of what I'm doing.
Sure.
I actually don't love the assignment on my life. Right? Here I am trying to rally tens of thousands of entrepreneurs to change culture, all that stuff that I just say all the time.
Yeah.
That's not something I would choose with my life.
Yeah.
What I would choose is skiing, right?
Yeah.
So now put that into context. I don't think Moses, when God said, go and get my people out of Egypt, I don't think he was like skippity-doo-dah, because he was a wanted man on murder, right? Yeah. Like, I don't think Paul was too excited when he's shipwrecked, flogged, beaten, and I don't think Joseph was too happy, sold by his brothers into slavery, in jail. And, I don't think Esther was too excited about her assignment when she had to go before the king and was likely to cut her head off. So I don't think that the assignment has to be this thing that we just love and adore. I don't, because it's not in the Bible. Yeah. Right? It's just not that in the Bible for people that had a big assignment and a big calling on their life. But what's weird is that, because I really don't like traveling so much because I'm away from my family. I really don't like aeroplane toilets after 3 hours. There are so many things that I absolutely hate about, but I do want the outcome. And I think that's why, I enjoy a lot of the journey, but I wouldn't say that it's my passion. I think my passion is helping business owners succeed and win and teaching them the strategies. That's a passion of mine. And that's what throws off enough money and influence for me to be able to go and do the assignment he's got for my life. So when you say to me, I've got a business and it could be 10 times bigger and I think there's more, I think the trap is a lot of people think it's either or. Should I be doing this or should I be doing that? Right? And this is not what you said, but a lot of people say to me, I'm not sure I'm called to run a business. I think I'm called to do something else. I would say to you that what if it's actually both? Because in my world, I have my profit-producing businesses that throw off the money for me to do my loss-making activities like Kingdom Business TV, Kingdom Business Summit, Kingdom Business Network, right? So I wonder whether that extra thing that you feel like there's more for you, you should be doing as well as running your business. Because for entrepreneurs, our businesses usually fund our purpose or our assignment or our calling.
Yeah.
So I don't like, it's not about, am I called for this and should I go and pursue something else? I would say to you, you in amongst growing your business, your calling will appear and they'll both come together really nicely.
Yeah. Very interesting.
If I didn't have my business, I wouldn't be able to do Kingdom Business because it would make too many losses for me to be able to sustain it, right?
Correct.
And so, for example, Dave Rowlands, a fellow that we've had on the podcast, he just popped into my mind. He runs a shade cloth business and funds massive orphanages in Uganda, right? Well, he has to have both. They're not even close, but his calling is to fund, his passion is to do the business. His calling is to fund the orphanage. And the two work incredibly well together because he doesn't have to go and raise money off anybody else to do the orphanage. He just builds the business, God blesses him, and he uses that money to do his calling. So I would say to you that the business you've got will grow, and it's probably intrinsically linked to your calling. They could be different functions, but they're going to come together, and you're going to be able to do both.
Yeah. No, I love it.
But you don't have to be passionate about your calling. Like there are things that I fully don't enjoy.
Yeah.
It is a life of sacrifice, right? To do your calling. So I just think a lot of people who are like, I should love what God's called me to do. No, not you. You can enjoy it. Yeah. You can enjoy the journey with the Lord, but there are elements of it that you can full on dislike. And I think you probably should, because that's what keeps us humble.
Yeah.
So
I understand.
Now,
that's really cool. Well, that sort of leads into my second part of it, which is the question between what is God's way and what is God's will. Because we often talk about his will, I think, but then his way is always, it's sometimes different to what we think. So we always go off and pursue it. Like, for example, I had, I was praying about a lot of things about the business, and I thought this was his will. So I pursued it and continued it, but come to know that maybe that's not his way of doing things and it's my way of doing things. How do you discern between the two?
Spend more time with the Lord.
Yeah, more time with the Lord.
Spend more time with the Lord and ask him. He's not offended, by the way, when you don't do everything his way. He's had 7 billion people before we turned up that didn't do anything his way.
We have a very funny relationship.
That's the way it should be. And he would love that about you. So you can't look backwards and think I didn't do it his way. We're all doing stuff that isn't the best way for the Lord, from the Lord's perspective. Every single one of us has that in our lives somewhere. The only antidote to make, to stop you from getting it wrong is to always be inquiring of the Lord, right? If you remember, Joshua did a deal with the Gibeonites where they basically rode from just around the corner, but they tricked him because they had moldy bread and no water, but they made moldy bread so that they could trick him. And they did a treaty with him so he wouldn't take them all out and kill him. And Joshua did a treaty and it ended up being a nightmare for him. Now, what's the moral of the story? Joshua did not inquire of the Lord on that major decision. So he made a treaty with a people group without asking God. That's what happens when you don't inquire of the Lord, or you don't ask him for his way. You end up just making dumb mistakes that end up hurting you.
Yeah.
So the only antidote to that is to spend more time with the Lord and to go to him and say, what about this? And what's your strategy? And should I do this? And learn that still small voice and learn to discern which way forward. And by the way, that's a lifelong journey. That's not a switch that you can turn on. Yeah. That is learning how to be more like him on a day-to-day basis until the day we die. So, but he loves it when somebody says, oh, you want to learn how to do it my way? Great, let's go on a journey together. So the only way to do that is to spend more time in the Word, more time seeking the Lord. and not petitioning to him, actually saying, Lord, I'm going to say nothing for the next 20 minutes. Show me a picture, a design, a thought, a strategy. Show me, Lord, how you want me to do it.
That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always me talking.
Now, here's what that's the life of a Christian in 2019. We forget that the God might have a word to say. Here's a prayer for you and everybody else that's watching. Here's a prayer that I think is the most dangerous, powerful prayer we could ever say. Lord, show me where my character is letting me down.
Yeah, okay.
Because he'll show you. And he'll do it in a beautiful way that doesn't hurt, but he'll show you. Because because when your character is letting you down and you change that, then you become more like him. We become more like him when we pray those prayers. So you make that your prayer, and he'll show you the areas that you can realign with his way.
Yep. No, I love that.
I want to send you a book.
Thank you.
Because it's Christmas.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
That's all right.
Really
So we
appreciate
have a book you can choose. We've got the $1 Trillion Coach. We've got Monday Matters, which is like a theological book around work-life ministry balance. We've got Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers, Christine Kane, Unashamed, 77 Proverbs for Leaders, Your Best Year Ever, and Supernatural Thinking.
I think your best year ever.
Michael Hyatt. Good. All right, Judy, Merry Christmas to you. Appreciate your heaps.
Thank you so much, Wez.
And we'll see you soon.
Thank you. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye. Hang up. Quick on the button there, Lauren. Bzz, gone.
Hello, Sam here.
Sam, it's Wez Hone. You're on Kingdom Business TV.
Hi, Wes. How are you?
I'm great. How are you? Merry Christmas.
Yes, you too. Thank you for your call today.
What can I help you with?
I was just calling up in regards to taking time off. How long do you take off, and how do you kind of you plan the year before, and then you take a couple of weeks off? What does that look like for you?
Yeah, so I typically do 2 weeks off. So I'll be stopping on Friday and taking 2 weeks, maybe 2 weeks and 1 day. I don't know, maybe that extra day will be nice. I have learned to do off really well. So, you know, and that wasn't the case for the first 10 years of my business life. I was never able to switch off. My mind would go a million miles an hour all the time. And it still does to a degree, but it doesn't stop me being present with the family, which is amazing. So for me, it's just a standard in my diary, right? I'm taking 2 weeks off over Christmas. I actually added up the amount of annual leave that I've had this year, and it's actually 5 weeks. I've actually taken 5 weeks off this year. So the way I do it, though, is I do insanely intense and then off. That's what I have learned to do. So I just do 12 hours work in an 8-hour day so that I don't feel bad when I'm at home at night or on the weekends or on holiday.
That's fantastic. So I imagine the whole year is planned for you before you take that leave, so you're not kind of thinking, I haven't met with that person or...
Yeah, so totally. But what I do is I go and buy a 1 year physical wall planner, right? Yeah. So it's got all the 365 days on it. And then I actually get a whole bunch of different colored dot stickers. And the first thing I do is I put in my family holidays, and then I backfill work. And I have to do it that way, otherwise there'll always be a meeting to go to and a trip to take that doesn't include my family. So I put in the family holidays and the family time, and then put all my business around it. And I find that's the way that I can value my family and show them that in amongst the busyness, they are really important. And then, you know, like I'll probably throw my phone in the cupboard for the first week of my 2 weeks off. You know, I'll leave that to the Lord. Now I'll say, right, you know, you can run my business for 7 days. I'll look after my family and then just really get that relaxing down tools. Because at the end of the day, next year is going to be massive, right? For every single one of us, next year is going to be massive. So we've got to learn to stop and take a breather and recalibrate, because next year's got enough troubles of its own. It's not worth worrying about now.
Yeah, that's very helpful. Thank you so much.
You've got to get that breather, right? You've got to be able to hit the reset button.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you don't, you'll come February and you'll be burning out and miserable, and you've just got to be able to hit that. Now, if you're in retail, by the way, it's not Christmas that you take your time off, because that's when you're making your money.
Yeah.
In retail, it's probably February or something, right? So it doesn't really matter when in the year it is, but you've got to factor in that time to hit reset and so forth.
Yeah, that's very good. Well, you'll be pleased that I'm taking a month off, so looking forward to relaxing.
That's awesome, Sam. I want to send you a book to read over your month off.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Mate, I've got a couple of options here. We've got the $1 trillion Coach, which is Eric Schmidt's story. We've got Monday Matters, a bit of theology. We've got Malcolm Gladwell. We've got Christine Kane, Mark Bilton, and we've got my book, Supernatural Thinking. Which one can I send you?
I reckon your book, Supernatural Thinking, sounds awesome.
Great. All right. Well, Merry Christmas, Sam, and we'll get this out to you real soon.
Thank you so much.
Bless
God
you, buddy.
bless. Thank you. Bye.
Well, we're hammering through them right now. Hey, guys, have you got your tickets? Tickets to Kingdom Business Summit 2020. It's going to be a mad time. Who are we talking to now?
Hello, Tim speaking.
Tim, it's Wez Hone. You're on Kingdom Business TV.
Hey, how are you, mate?
I'm great. How are you?
Living the dream, mate. Living the dream.
What can I help you with?
Hey, just got a question for guys that are doing B2B this time of year. How do you approach it? And when so many businesses are winding down and just thinking of getting through, what's some things that we can do to set us up for 2020?
Great question. So the biggest mistake most people make when it comes to this time of year in a B2B, a business-to-business environment, is they think, oh, well, everyone's taking time off, so there's no point in doing anything. I'm thinking that's absolute madness. Now is the time of the year when B2B people have a little bit of discretionary time. Like, they've had their Christmas turkey and everyone's fallen asleep in a food coma, and they're going to reach for their phone and, digest 36 minutes of Facebook or whatever, or LinkedIn or Insta. Like, now is the time to put yourself on the radar of your audience that you choose. All right? Like, I know it bucks the trend, but it's obvious to me that now is the time. People haven't had time. People are busy during the year, that they give more time, more discretionary time to reading or, watching videos or laying about and learning and being inspired. They do more of that in the coming 3 weeks than in the other 49 weeks of the year. So now's the time to be jumping in the studio, jumping in front of a camera, jumping in front of your iPhone and recording. Videos, thoughts, hints, tips, value, driving some of those to a website so you can pixel them and remarket them in the new year. Maybe producing a document or some asset that they could download, and now you've got their email address ready for next year. You've got to start putting assets and content out into the ecosystem, and you will find that people start consuming. Now, of course, come mid-January 2020, you've now got both eyes on your content, you've got maybe some email addresses, you've got pixel audiences, you can remarket to people that watched more than 50% of your videos. Like, you've got those things around you to build momentum to push into next year.
So would you only be doing sort of online awareness type content? You wouldn't be doing any actual like reach outs and stuff like that?
Like offline?
Yeah.
Well, I've just posted a letter to 1,500 people that'll arrive tomorrow. So yeah, I'm all for offline.
Yeah. And so okay, you're a bit cold calling and stuff like that.
I would want to test it actually, just because I wouldn't go no. My gut feeling is it could be a little bit awkward, but I'm not worried about awkward. I want cash, so I would probably give it a go. But there might be some other ways to do that. There might be like, maybe punch some things out through Messenger or things like that and make some introductions that are not phone calls. Obviously, you would obviously steer clear of Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day. You steer clear of all those days. there are a lot of people that work between Christmas and New Year. A lot of people that work between Christmas and New Year. So if they're working, call them. If they're not working, then infiltrate them a different way. Right?
Sure.
But you can be emailing them, and you can be messaging them, and you can be, putting content in front of them, and, you could be using this. Okay, so here's an interesting one. This would be a good time of year for you to catch up and set up some strategic alliances with some other B2B professionals that maybe could help you in 2020.
Yeah, sure.
Not everyone is kind of like religious on their 2 weeks off. There are a lot of people that will take 1 week and then they'll half take the next week and they'll be in work mode a little bit. Go find those people. Go and set up coffee meetings and work out how you can do business together. So you could pretty much do all of that through this time. But I think that my number one strategy is to produce enough content at this time of year that I can drip feed it to an audience over the break.
Yeah, makes sense.
I don't know if you're reading between the lines here, Timmy, but do you know why I'm producing such a long show today?
You would like to cut this bad boy down into 300 different pieces?
Yeah, 15.
15.
And then put it across all the platforms and turn it into 200 pieces of content. And now I can go on a break and I infiltrate the mind of the masses.
Magic.
Look at that, eh? Being a practitioner.
So good, mate.
Mate, I want to send you a book because it's Christmas and generosity is a beautiful thing. Now, I've got a couple of options here. We've got Christine Kane. Not sure how you feel about that one. We've got Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers. We've got Monday Matters with Mark Bilton. We've got the $1 Trillion Coach. What can I help you with?
Let's go $1 Trillion Coach.
Ooh,
lock it in, Eddie.
Lock it in, Eddie.
Only if it's guaranteed to make me a trillionaire.
I can give no warranties to the validity of how much this book will make you, but I'll send it to you anyway.
Appreciate it, mate.
Merry Christmas.
You too, mate. I'll catch you later.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right. Hey, what's the stuff that's popping for you? In the comments below, tell me, what's the biggest lesson, the biggest take home, the biggest thing that you have heard on the show that has mattered? Put it in the comments for me right now. Who we got?
Hello, Chris speaking.
Chris, it's Wez Hone. You're on Kingdom Business TV.
G'day, Wes. How are you?
I'm very good. Merry Christmas. What can I help you with?
You too. Merry Christmas to you. So, Wes, I wanted to ask you, I've got a new idea of a new stream for my business, photography business.
Mm-hmm.
But it's quite different to what I'm currently doing. And I just wondered the best way to structure that. So whether I have it as an arm to the existing business, or whether I keep it as a separate entity of its own.
Cool.
So I'm just sort of pondering that.
Give me a little bit more context of how different it is.
Yeah, so basically the current business that I have is it's basically professional headshots.
Yep.
People use for LinkedIn and that sort of thing.
Yep. Give us your URL. Where would somebody go to find out more?
It's profilebooth.com.au.
Great. Keep going.
Thanks for the plug. And yeah, so basically that's sort of corporate space, professional headshots, event photography, and business promotional. So that's the sort of sphere of where that business is at.
And the new one?
And the other one is it's a bit different. So it's construction space. So working on progress sort of photography for
time-lapse photography and stuff like that.
Yeah, look, it could include time-lapse, drone work.
Yep. Okay, got it. Okay.
And on-site progress photography,
Perfect.
that sort of thing.
So I want to answer your first question of what kind of entity and what kind of structure. Obviously, that's not going to come under profile booth branding.
No.
Right? So that's going to be your whatever, Chris's on-site photography, right? So it'll have its own logo, its own website, right, and its own customers. That's fine. But in terms of its entity, I would not put that under two entities. I would not go and set up another proprietary limited for the sake of that. And here's my reason why. Firstly, you do not need the additional $2,000 a year accounting or The $500 to set up a new company and trust, and whatever, the $1,000 or $1,500 a year in accounting fees to manage it. That it doesn't give you anything to spend that money, right? And the other thing, of course, is you can spin it out at any stage. So you could run, and the other thing is it's untested. So rather than invest in an entity and then find out you don't like it after 2 years and you're going to close it down, is a waste of time. Bring it under the entity you've currently got. Different trading name, different logo, different everything, but bring it under that entity. If in 12 months it's flying and you really like it, then spin it out and put it over into a new entity. Right? The value of that business will be zero. So you won't have to pay stamp duty or anything like that, probably. So just go and put it in another entity if you want to. If you said to me, I'm going to start this other business and I'm going to sell it I'm just going to build it very quickly and punt it, I would say definitely put it in another entity, because then you've isolated it for the new buyer.
Yep.
Like if you're going to quickly do a business for the sake of selling it, then you should probably spin it out from the start. But I think in your case, it's unnecessary.
That wouldn't be the aim. Yeah.
Exactly. So just bring it all under the one umbrella. Like it's not more entrepreneurial to have more entities. Like it's unnecessary. Now there are times when you do need them.
Sorry.
You go.
I was just going to say, so would you link it? I know you're saying it's a different logo and a different business name. Would you sort of link them at all, like cross platforms, or you know what I mean?
You mean would I sell
to
each
keep
other's
them
databases?
Completely separate? Or like from a website point of view, like from Profile Booth's website, would I, link across to this new
only if you
website,
think that
or
the
just
clients, only if you think that the clients could. You definitely want to do that if you can make more money out of cross promotion. Definitely. So on this website, you reference the other one. On this website, you reference the other one. Definitely. Definitely. If we're going to put our hands around a more amount of money, that's brilliant. And by the way, you should do that whether it's going to one entity or two. That wouldn't matter. That's just a smart business decision to leverage the relationships of both businesses. So definitely in the tactics of it, cross promote and cross sell, but that doesn't change whether you should have one entity or two.
Yeah. Okay. So leave it as one entity and two trading as.
Yeah. And then when it becomes its own thing and you want to de-risk, if one's got more risk than the other, spin it out. Yeah. That's it. You could make that decision with one phone call to your accountant that says, hey, start another proprietary limited or stick this in a holding trust and then move it over there and let's get a valuation. The valuation is, $2,000. Stamp duty's nothing. Move it over, and off you go.
Yeah. So I guess the only other thing is that currently I'm still under sole trader. So I would need to restructure things in order to do what we're talking about. Would that be right?
No. You don't have to change anything for now. Just start another trading name.
Yeah, I see. Yep.
Now, if you want to spin it out, down the line, you could spin out the new business and still stay as a sole trader on the other side.
Yeah, okay.
I mean, like you obviously should seek, advice because I don't know all of the situation here. But if you have assets outside of your business, you probably shouldn't be a sole trader anyway because they are at risk. So, like a home or an investment property or something like that. Like if you hold those things in your own name and then you're a sole trader, all of that stuff is potentially exposed. So at some point,
I'm working through that stuff at the moment.
At some point, you're going to want to change. You don't have to change from a sole trader, by the way, but you could move any real estate holdings you've got into a trust, and that would help you isolate them from a risk management perspective. But there are people far more knowledgeable than I on how to structure and how to do things like that. That's kind of like a bit of a basic understanding of how to do it, But I think for now, to answer your first question, just put them under the same business. If it becomes a thing, then move it. If it doesn't,
put them under the same business, but separate them online.
Yeah, definitely. They're a different identity.
Yeah. Yep.
Unless, of course, you wanted to do something funky and instead of Profile Booth, Profile Site, right? And then you could probably keep them That's an interesting conversation. Keep the branding the same, but have a different identity. So you got profile booth and profile site, or whatever, just a play on words.
Well, one thing I have thought of, because I really like the profile booth logo, and one thing I have thought of is, for example, changing it to a black and white version of that logo and call it, say, PB Industrial or something like that, and have it as a separate arm of the business.
Yeah, well, they're probably so different that the market wouldn't work it out. So there's probably no benefit to keeping them the same. You'd have to keep them very similar. So here's just a little thought for you, which I think is fun. There's two ways you could go: a branded house and a house of brands. And let me explain the difference. A branded house is where somebody owns a lot of businesses and they have the same flavor in their branding. All right. So look at the Virgin Group. Virgin Megastores, Virgin Atlantic Airways, Virgin Active Health Clubs, right? That's a branded house because everything is branded. You take a company like Berkshire Hathaway, Warren Buffett's investment arm. It's one company that owns Sears Candy, Coca-Cola, the Burlington Railway. They're all different businesses under one umbrella, okay? So that's a house of brands or a branded house. So you could have 3 or 4 different businesses that all had different names and different logos and different feels. That would be a house of brands. Like if you look at FedEx actually have about 50 different logos and they all look about the same, different colors, but they all look about the same. So they're a branded house. So you can go either way. There's no better way. Obviously, if you go branded house, you get the cross collateralization of the brand to help you do that. But the downside is when one doesn't work, it's a little bit harder to get rid of because it could tarnish the brand of the others.
Yeah, because they're all linked. Yep. Cool.
Bless you, buddy. Merry Christmas. I can send you a book.
You too,
What
mate.
would you like? Would you like Monday Matters by Mark Bilton, 77 Proverbs for Leaders, Unashamed by Christine Kane, or Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers?
I'll go for Monday Matters, please, Wes.
Awesome. By Mark Bilton. Have you ever heard Mark speak? He is.
No, I haven't.
He's really cool. He's a Sydney boy. He's spoken at most of our events and so forth.
Okay.
All right,
Cool.
Chris. Merry Christmas, mate, to you and the family.
You too,
and,
mate. Thanks
catch
very
up
much,
with you in the
Wes.
new year.
Will do. Cheers, mate.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. You got to get yours. Got to get them. There's a crazy ticket offer right now. But here's why we do a crazy ticket offer. Because you can buy one ticket for $79, but you can find 2 or 3 people from your church or from your world, buy them a ticket for $20. You don't even have to give us the name of the people that you're bringing with you now. We will just get them off you before the event. You can buy extra tickets, and we'll work with you to find those people, and then we'll send a ticket to them once you know who they are. Go to kingdombusiness.com.au, grab your tickets now, because this thing's buzzing right now live with people buying tickets. All right, there's 5 more sales in the last 15 minutes. So they're flying out of the door. You don't want to be missing out. Did.
Hello, Amanda speaking.
Amanda, it's Wez Hone. You're on Kingdom Business TV.
How are you?
I'm great. Merry Christmas to you.
Thank you, you too.
What can I help you with?
Just had a question about, is it realistic to be believing for an all-Christian staff when I am based in a really small town?
Give me some context. Whereabouts are you?
So I'm in a place called Gayndah, which is
I know it.
a town of about 3,000 people.
Yep.
I have one staff member who is also a Christian. I'm believing for a staff of at least 4 over the next couple of years. And I would love to have an all-Christian staff. It is something that is on my heart, and I'm just not sure if it's realistic.
I mean, if we're talking about 4 people over a couple of years, yes, you could probably get 4 people to be Christian. So I think if you said I want a team of 40, then no, I don't think that's going to work in a town like that. 4, I could see that you would be able to achieve that, which kind of brings me to the mechanics. Like, if there's not 4, then go and lead some people to Christ, and then get them to work for you. Like maybe you have to produce them. You need to get on the street and stand up in the middle of Gander and ask for all the people in your industry who know how to do your job to repent of their filthy sin, and maybe you can homegrown some staff.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness,
there's not even anyone with the right skills, let alone skills and faith.
So I would just drop this little nugget in there and say, why? Why do they have to be Christian? Do they?
Yep. So I thought you would have that question. My answer is I want there to be prayer involved in the business. I would love to have a staff that prays together and that prays over our clients and that prays over the business, whether it's once a week or once a month or something like that. I just want that culture to be part of the team.
Okay. So you know that Google have weekly prayer meetings, right? The most left-leaning organization in corporate America, and there are prayer meetings in there every week.
Okay.
And by the way, only 1% of the staff. Like it's not everybody, and you're not forced to go, and it's an elective that you can just go to during the week. Most of your major corporations have a Christian component that are actively meeting together and praying at some point. I still don't see that you need to have all of you being a Christian to achieve that outcome. If two of you were and 2 of you weren't, then you say to the team, hey, we're just going into our prayer meeting. You're welcome to join us, but there's no pressure. Right? Yep. And you actually, I mean, like I know of stories of businesses who have this as a discipline in their business, and people over time have actually come to Christ through those prayer meetings. Because they have seen why they're doing this all the time. And they may start by, chiding as like stupid Christians, yada, yada, yada. But they see over time, they really mean it. They really care. They're speaking life. Mm-hmm. And then they're like, I didn't get that in my world. This is really attractive to me. And then they give their life to the Lord. And now they're part of your team praying. So I don't know. It just feels rigid to me. And, Jesus could very much give you that calling of building a Christian business. I mean, at this stage, I've only got believers that work for me, and some of them are questionable, but that's... Sorry, they're in the room with me kind of, now they're all laughing. But if I want to scale to the size I want to scale, that just can't work. It's just not going to get me there. So I just think Jesus probably could say to a small business, you should have only Christians, but Jesus himself did not hive himself off in a religious bubble and only hang out with Pharisees. He actually came to upset the religious people, and he went and hung out with everybody else.
Absolutely. I'm not thinking of wanting to work within that bubble myself. That doesn't worry me at all. I come from a family of non-Christians. None of that bothers me at all. It's more the fact of having that Christian culture internally where we're praying, but also B, the fact that Christians tend to sometimes, hopefully, have that work ethic of really knowing that what they're doing is feeding into their clients, and just having that work ethic that is more along the lines of, this is where God wants me to be, so therefore. I
think you'd be surprised at the influence you could have in people's lives if I reckon you could have a culture that loves your clients, that wants the best for your clients, that people love coming to work, but they don't all have to be Christian to get there. And I think if the bulk of you were, then I think that would be a beautiful environment for the non-believers to first of all get to experience a Christian who's not a weirdo, because most people's experience of Christians is they're all a bunch of weirdos. So this is a phenomenal opportunity for people to realize that actually this chick's okay and she's normal and she's got the same struggles as me, but she's got a faith. I wonder what all this is about. It'll be attractive to them.
Yeah.
So, I mean, ultimately, you do what you feel the vision is for your business, but I just kind of want to go, it feels a little restrictive, and I think there would be a huge amount of joy and freedom if you were to flirt around the edges a little bit of what that could look like.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that makes a lot of sense, and it makes me feel slightly more confident that, I want people who have the skills that I need, and that is really important. It's personality is a big thing, and teachability is a big thing, but I need people who, I don't want to be training from the ground up every time. I want to be finding people that have the skills that I need so that I can scale faster than what I am now.
Perfect. So then you just got to go maybe a little bit broader.
Yeah.
And then win them to Christ.
Yeah, absolutely.
Through your witness.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to send you a book, Amanda. We are down to 3 that you get to choose from. We have 77 Proverbs for Leaders. We have Christine Cain's Unashamed, and we have Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers. Which one can I send you?
I might grab the Christine Cain one, please.
Awesome. I want to get her to come and talk at a summit one year. I reckon she'd be great at that.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Amanda, Merry Christmas, and I'll catch up with you next year.
You will. I'll be at the summit. I already have my ticket.
Bless you heaps.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye.
All right. Very, very cool. Very, very cool. Would you do me a favor? Would you hit the share button, whether you're watching on a device or whether you're watching on a computer? Would you hit the share button for me, and let's get this out to more people.
Hello?
Jamie, it's Wez Hone. You're on Kingdom Business TV.
Good morning, Wes. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too, mate.
What can I help you with?
So my question to you, Wes, is as you know, we've started as a subcontractor as an earth moving mechanic, and I understand it's only early days. It's sort of 4 months in, but seeing families in business and whatever over the years, I guess the question is it honestly possible to live, debt-free and successful owning your own business through, well-structured planning, or is that a bit of a, is there a bit of a small percentage of people that will actually ever sort of get there, if you know what I mean?
I mean, if the question is, can you ever get to that point? Of course, but maybe not at the start. No, of course. I mean, I'm debt free.
Yeah.
Right. I have assets and I'm debt free. I'm about to not be debt free. I'm going to go and borrow a heap of money soon, but because it doesn't bother me to be debt free. I mean, that's not. I mean, ultimately, it's a nice thing to aspire to, but it doesn't bother me. Debt's no issue for me if it's put against things that can fund it. Debt's a really bad idea when it's personal credit cards, store cards. That's a really bad idea when it's on consumer goods. And it's a really bad idea when your business is going down and you don't have an ability to repay it to use debt, right? That's what caused the GFC. So they're bad ideas. But borrowing money to put on an asset that's going to go up over time that you have an avenue to pay down the debt, is fine. I mean, Leviticus teaches us that we can borrow and trade in 7-year cycles. So so that's all fine to do. I mean, ultimately, yes. All it is you've got to understand money, and then you need good fiscal management on the way. But sometimes you have to roll the dice, and sometimes you do have to, get loans to start businesses or build businesses or acquire, customers or competitors or whatever. And then you go through a period of paying down the debt, and you just got to manage that journey. I mean, you can definitely have it. I mean, I said to somebody on the call before, like, I've had 5 weeks holiday this year. 5 weeks holiday, debt free. It can be done. It can be done where you can manage all of those. but well, I'm nowhere near my dream, if I be honest. Like nowhere, not even, haven't even scratched it, to be honest. So, but it can definitely happen. You know, I know lots of people who have built a business and they have a very tight relationship with the Lord. They're great with their family. They're debt free. They got assets, but they kind of went through hell to get there. They had to go through a period of kind of neglecting themselves and neglecting their family a little bit, and that's not a good idea. But there are some times when you might be a little bit out of out of sync, and you can be out of sync for a little bit. That's okay, but you can't be out of sync for a long time. So you can't neglect your health for a long time before it damages you. You can't neglect your family before it blows up. You can't neglect debts before they blow up. So you can be out of sync a little bit, but you can't stay there. And everybody I know that's built a great business was out of sync a little bit at points in their life, but they had the smarts to be able to bring them back, to being okay and bring them back in check. I guess the one thing that helps you achieve all of these things is to fight for profit every day. Like if you're profitable in business, which all that means is you're buying customers cheaper than the money they give you. If you're profitable in business, then everything kind of looks after itself, because you can use that profit to pay down debt. You can use that profit to, go on holidays and invest with your family. You can use that profit. So, that from day one, the more profitable you can be, the more margin you get in your products and services, the better life gets. But it can happen, and it comes with a cost. But it can happen. And I think anything great comes with a cost.
Of course.
And just on the family one, I mean, I learned the hard way. I didn't get this right from the beginning, but I remember I basically learnt that one of the greatest things I can do to bring my family on the journey was to communicate often about what's going on. So I would sit Kimberly down and say, listen, the next few weeks are going to be ridiculous for me. I'm going to be working late at night and some weekends. However, how about we book a long weekend away with the kids after that so that we are bringing the balance? And just by including them and just by communicating, everybody felt clear and they knew what the end goal was. Whereas when I didn't talk and I just was running, nobody knew where they stood and it would always end up in tears. So just communicating regularly and having those conversations really helped us to be running on the same page. But yes, you can actually have it all. You can have a great relationship with God. You can have a great relationship with your family. You can have assets. You can have a business. You can be incredibly generous. But it won't happen overnight, but it will happen.
Okay, perfect.
Now you get to pick one of two books, Jamie. You can have either 77 Proverbs for Leaders or Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers. Let's see how spiritual you are.
I'll take the first one if I can, Wesley.
Yeah, good answer, Jamie. All right, bless you, buddy. Have a Merry Christmas.
Yeah, you too. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Wow, we're getting through some calls. Would you hit the share button for me? That'd be amazing.
Lee speaking.
Hey, it's Wez Hone. You're on Kingdom Business TV.
Hey, Wes, how you going?
Good. Merry Christmas. What can I help you with?
Okay, so I'm having trouble getting people to leave Google reviews. So basically what I normally do is after the weekends when we have a lot of our events, I send them an email and it's got a link straight to the Google review page. But out of the last 121 emails I've sent, only 14, 12% have actually replied. I know they're happy with the service because I often talk to them after, so I'm not really sure what the problem is.
Yeah, cool. Google reviews are actually very hard to get. Very hard to get. And there's a lot of friction for a customer to go and leave a review. first of all, they've got to get your link. Second of all, they've got to click on it. They've actually got to open a Google account if they don't have one, right?
Yeah.
And then they get to leave a review. So, I've never left one because it's all just too hard. So the only way, so you're doing it the right way in terms of at least asking. I don't think you could ever expect for a better outcome than the one you're getting unless you give them some ethical bribe to do it on your behalf, right? So you could say, hey, if you do that, I'm going to give you this. I'm going to do this. If there is a big enough reason to do it, they'll do it. At the moment, there's only a big enough reason for 12% to do it. And it's probably 12% that are desk-based people who already have a Google account, probably. But you could get everybody else to jump that friction and do it if there was a big enough reason. You'd have to give them something really good, though, or do something really good to get them to do it, because it's a painful process to leave a Google review for someone. I know you've made it easy, you've sent the link, but like me, I've got 400 competing things in my inbox, so that's it's just not something I would do. Unless, if I had some discretionary time and it popped up, maybe I would in the moment, but my default would be that it would be too hard. So, yeah, I mean, you've just got to find, if you want to get that number up from 12% to 24, you've got to find an incentive for them to do it. There's got to be what's in it for them is what they're asking, and there needs to be more in it for them if you want to get that number up.
Yeah. Okay. Sounds fair enough.
Which is not a great answer for you, but at the end of the day, it's the only way you're going to get it done, because you're up against human behaviour.
Yeah. Now, the main reason I want it is for search engine purposes, because my Google Places listing shows up quite high. So I could get reviews from other places, but I'm not really sure that it's worthwhile.
Like Facebook, you mean, or things like that?
Yeah, Facebook. There's a few others as well.
I think you're even less likely to. Well, there's actually less friction with Facebook because everybody's on there anyway. So if you sent them a link through, then all they're going to do is give 5 stars and some words. They don't have to log into an account. So there's less friction on giving a Facebook review, but they're also less valuable. Like a Facebook review is probably worth nothing. That's not true. It's not worth nothing. It's not as valuable as a Google review because Facebook's decision making on what they show is less based on reviews than Google. Google have actually done a pretty good job of including your reviews in the algorithm search. So that's the reason why you should do it. I don't know that I would put any effort into trying to get reviews on other sites. I would probably put my effort towards getting more people, like finding a way to say, hey, if you give a review, I'm going to do this, and give them something that way. That's probably where I'd put my time. And if you can get a bigger number, then you'll win.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, Lee. Well, I've got one book to send. Have you ever read Malcolm Gladwell's Outliers?
No, I have actually heard about it, and I've been thinking about it.
Well, mate, I'm going to send it to you.
Yep. Okay, that'd be great.
All right. Merry Christmas, Lee, and I'll catch you in the new year.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Well, that's it, guys. That's the end of episode 65 of Kingdom Business TV. Let me remind you, you got to get them tickets. And if you've already bought tickets, actually, here's a cool thing, a bit of work for Lauren. If you've already bought tickets, then and you realize that you want to buy some more because you want to buy them at the $20 rate for extra tickets, email admin@businessgreenhouse.com.au and we will let you buy more at $20, a couple more on top of the ones you bought without you having to go back and buy the first $79 ticket. You've got to email admin@businessgreenhouse.com.au and buy tickets for your friends. You don't even have to give us the name of the person that you're bringing. You can just buy 1 or 2 more tickets right now and then go and find somebody to bring between now and the event, right? Like Uncle Wez, I can't do any more here. Trying to rally the troops, trying to make it easy for you to go find people. One last thought from me. Do me a favor over this Christmas period, right? First of all, at some point, let's get silenced and let's make sure our eyes are on him. Let's take time to recalibrate. and make sure that he is the head of our lives and make sure that we're worshiping him and him only. And then let's put our attention to the people that we've been trusted with, spouses, wives, husbands, kids, family. Let's do a really good job of, forgetting some of the angst that can be in a family. And let's do a really good job of being a witness to people at this time of year. And when friction arises potentially in your family, do me a favor and be the bigger man, be the bigger woman, rise above it, and just show unconditional love to people regardless. Don't get triggered by the things that might have triggered you in the past. And then just take time to think about 2020. Let God and you dream together about how big your 2020 is gonna be. It's been a real blessing for me to do these episodes for you this year. I think we've done 60 episodes. 60 this year, which has been amazing because we started. So I think we've done 60 episodes for you guys this year. If you've had value, put something in the comments box for me. That'd be amazing. Hit the share button on the show and let's get more people watching the show. It would mean the world to me if you would do that. So from my family and my team to you, I love you heaps. Have a Merry Christmas and I'll catch you next year.
Kingdom business is different to normal business. It's about taking our gifts and our talents into the marketplace, building profitable and influential businesses, and playing our part in advancing the kingdom of God. We have to understand that when we see business as our assignment, heaven will back us. And women across this country who decide to play a bigger game and shift their focus from an earthly empire to an eternal kingdom. So I invite you to join me and a lineup of world-class speakers and let us invest in you and your business for 2 whole days. One of the things that makes the Kingdom Business Summit different to a lot of conferences is that we are really practical. Yes, we teach theory, but we bring everything down to the actionable steps that you'll be able to implement in your business right away. Kingdom Business is a movement, and there is a tidal wave right now of kingdom entrepreneurs right across this country who have decided to go into the marketplace and bring an expression of the kingdom. And it's a beautiful thing, and it's happening, and I invite you to come along on the journey. So if you're looking for business training, the ability to worship with your brothers and sisters in business, if you're looking for some prophetic ministry and you're looking at networking, then I invite you to join me, Kingdom Business Summit 2020, somewhere around this wonderful country. Tickets will sell out fast, so make sure you register early, and I look forward to seeing you real soon.